just thinking of the result right now is really bummer right now for me. So we're here and there, I guess you could say in a sense.
We're here and there, the perfect sum up, the perfect, I guess, analysis of what most of us feel right now. Because of course, it is the first game. I did say in the last pod, if we did not get a result, it wasn't time to start panicking, but it was time to start asking some questions, and we're gonna be asking those very same questions today. But before so, I think it's important that we kind of point out everything that we thought was gonna go right and didn't go right. So we'll definitely talk all about that and discuss what happened in Aguascalientes against Necaxa, who I think played a very good game, but I think a lot of people are giving them a lot more credit than they actually do deserve. Because if you see the way we played against them in certain periods of the game, we were much better, but we just kind of lost that spark, and because of that, they were able to capitalize on it. But again, we'll go over that in full detail in just a couple, and then of course we'll preview the big game, because it is our opening home game of the season against Atlas in the Estadio Azteca. So Dylan, we ready for this?
Let's go. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Mr. Leva's already in the group chat, but beforehand, I wanna say this. Dylan has requested that we give a question to the audience. Not my preferred question, but we're gonna give it to you guys anyways. So, question of the day is: if you had to pick an America's rival team to support, Cruz Azul, Chivas, or Pumas, who would it be? I would say none. But apparently Dylan did not want to accept that for myself. But shout out to Cari Torres, who is out here in the group chat saying Necaxa outplayed America. They did, but not the way that people are trying to say that they did. And we'll go about that and we'll discuss that and we'll say why it is that I think that Necaxa wasn't super amazing the way that people want to paint them to be. Because I think if you see this game, if you see that Necaxa team, they played very good extensive periods of football, but I don't think they were exactly this kind of amazing team that outplayed us completely. I don't know what you think, Dylan.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree to you. I agree with you. I mean, but the first half, really, there wasn't. I didn't really see much exactly from America too. I guess you could say in the first half to me, we see Necaxa outplay America, but in the second half, we see some sparks, we see some life. Obviously, Roger Martinez giving a goal to his first goal. Not necessarily his first goal in an America jersey, but
First
in the
official
league
goal.
too as well. Yeah, first official goal, really. But still, we see some sparks, but just obviously not enough to get the job done.
It wasn't enough to get the job done exactly. So let's dive right into it, and let's break it down. Let's dissect this and let's see exactly what went wrong for our Aguilas. Dylan, do you have the lineup or should I say it?
You should say it 'cause I don't have it ready.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we went out with the 4-4-2 that we anticipated last week here on the podcast. We went with Marchesín in goal. We went with Paolo Aguilar on the right back position. The two center back pairings were Bruno Valdez and Manuel Aguilera, who both had a terrible, terrible game. We'll discuss about that a little bit further. And then, of course, left back making his official debut with America was Luis Reyes. In the midfield, we had Guido Rodriguez with Joe Corona. I'll go into details exactly why it is that I didn't like that partnership. And then why you had Renato Ibarra and Andres Ibargüen. And up top, you had the official debut of Roger Martinez. And then, of course, you also had Mr. Henry Martin, who I think had a terrible, terrible game, which is quite disappointing because I was one of those people who said he should have started and he needed to start against Necaxa after the wonderful, wonderful goal he had scored against Manchester United.
Really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have your bad games and you have your good games. I mean, I know at the same time too. We saw some good things from Henry. We started to die down in Clausura too as well, and it really sucks to see you know him have such a good goal and a decent game against Manchester United, and to come back out and Aguas Caliente and not really perform.
No, it was a terrible, and he's the reason why they scored that first goal on us. To be honest, and we'll break that down a little bit further too. But talk to me. You see the lineup. It's practically the lineup we predicted. What was your thoughts when obviously you released the lineup to the world on our Twitter account? What were you thinking about?
I liked it. I mean, it was pretty good. Considering the fact that we had some injuries. Obviously, Linus Sanchez and Vargas off too with the U21s in Colombia right now 2 a row. And so I saw this lineup and said, okay, this is a lineup that can go out and get the job done and get that result that we wanted to. So I saw it as a good lineup.
It was a good lineup, taking in consideration the injuries, the absences, the fact that some of these players weren't even ready yet because of the World Cup. I think we had said that we were going to field the best possible lineup we had, but it was not going to be our strongest lineup by any means necessary. And we definitely proved that it's not. Even though, with that said, you would have imagined that we had enough squad depth and enough talent on that pitch to be able to cause more of a threat to Necaxa than what we did on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely, man. And especially you seen it too in the preseason too, with the youngsters too that are getting the opportunity, they getting the shot, getting those minutes in the preseason too. And something we'll touch on too on based on too. I know we're kind of just barely getting started, and we'll talk about the first half, but going into the second half too, man. Those substitutions again really killed us, and that's something that really frustrates me too as well.
I think there's always the saying of a perfect storm in regards to something good happening, right? But I think this was the perfect storm for America and everything and anything that could have gone wrong at the start of the season. You know, your arguably your best creative player goes down with an injury. Your one of your most talented wingers gets thrown out with an injury. You have your best youngster that's going to be missing due to the fact that he's off in national team duty. You have players that are not 100% ready because of the World Cup. So all of this that could have gone wrong went wrong for America, and then that game itself too, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for America too. Two center backs that we praised all last season in Bruno Valdez and Emmanuel Aguilera, two center backs that had kept Edson Alvarez on the bench, just did not show up to that game whatsoever. I think Bruno Valdez had the worst game of his life in an America jersey. Just absolutely looked just way out of it. Not even preseason. And I'll say this much though, it did. I did talk to you in regards to the defense during preseason that it was a cause for concern, but I think we overlooked it just because we thought it's preseason, everything will be ready by the kickoff. But obviously we were wrong to think of that. The partnerships just weren't there. Some of the players just looked sluggish, like they were walking around. I mean, Ibargüen, I mean, did he even touch the ball? It's ridiculous. He didn't really play to the standards that we were hoping that he was going to have, because we said it, with all these injuries, with all these absences, the one man that you thought that you could put so much kind of confidence in was going to be Andres Ibargüen. And I think he lets us all down. Henry Martin, of course, I already mentioned him, had a terrible, terrible performance. And then if you look at the center mid role, I think Joe Corona was very quiet in that game, and Guido Rodriguez himself was just kind of just out of position most of the time for me. I think the only two players that you can say had arguably a good game was probably Renato Ibarra and Roger Martinez.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating too. It's something I thought about too. Is considering the fact that you have two new players with this team, Roger Martinez and Luis Reyes. I mean, these guys were playing together in Clausura. I mean, you don't expect these guys who have had a season under their belt together, going through preseason and training together, to go out and play like the way they did. I mean, it just seemed like there was no chemistry on the field either.
Yeah, there really wasn't. It just looked like it was just a pickup game that, all of these players were playing with each other for the first time. And that's what worries me the most, is because this is not a team that has so many signings, that has so many new faces. Yeah, we have a new left back and we have a new forward, but besides that, everyone should know each other by now. Everyone should be accustomed to how you play, and everyone should know what you're playing for. You've had 6 months under Miguel Herrera to know exactly what you're playing for. The fact that you come out here and you showcase the poor performance that you did leaves me to ask, what is it that the players are lacking in? Is it confidence? Is it is there something going on in the locker room? What's going on with these players? What is their mindset? They can't be on vacation because vacation ended a long time ago. You know.
Yeah, and that's really bad. The players having this mindset too, especially coming in. What's at stake too. I think pretty much it's told around that Piojo could be seeing the door soon too. If we don't have silverware this season too, and I'm pretty sure everybody in this club is going to want to go out and get silverware too after coming up short about 4 times. You could say, in the last year in the Apertura and the Clausura too,
And in the
between
Copa
champ
Americas.
with Copa Mekis and between Champions League too as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's break it down. Let's talk first half and let's dive into what was the terrible start I think as soon as the kickoff goes, I think you see there's one team motivated more than the other, and that's Necaxa. Obviously they're at home. Obviously, new management. The players look like they're actually playing for the manager. This Necaxa side has a lot of impressive players, has a lot of impressive qualities. I think the way that they moved the ball around was very well, but I think America did not do what America had done previously that we praised them for so well, and that was putting the team that they're going up against under pressure. I think if you look back at how America starts off games and you saw the way that we have this kind of high tempo, this high press, this high kind of intensity that we make it so that in the opening minutes a team doesn't get comfortable, because if you give a team the opportunity to get comfortable and you don't really assess the dangers that they could possibly have, then you're giving them all the right to just manage the game from there on. I think what we did great at the beginning of last season was the fact that we pressed these teams. We didn't give them much time on the ball. We made it uncomfortable for them to play out the back. We didn't really see that. We gave them plenty, I mean, plenty of space to move the ball around. Our midfield looked absolutely just nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And I think that's what frustrated me so much, is because you had Joe Corona and Guido Rodriguez, two players that like to play deep, just gave Necaxa just a really, really good opportunity to get in and kind of just carry the ball through. Our forwards weren't really pressing. I didn't see Roger really try to, press the ball as much as maybe an Oribe Peralta would. Henry Martin, not even talk about him. He just kind of looked sluggish on the ball too. And then someone that actually, when he did come into America, looked like he was actually, fighting for something. He was pressing every play. He was running around, just chasing every ball. And really didn't see that from him in this game against Necaxa. But if you go, if we're going back to the home team, I think what they did well was they saw that we planted ourselves very poorly at the beginning of the half, and they took advantage of it by all means necessary. I think they knew that our weakness was definitely going to be their speed up front, because let's face it, I think our left side is really vulnerable to that. If you look at Luis Reyes, just absolutely horrible, horrible game of his. He was getting outpaced by Alvarez, his ex teammate. Um, and the less said about Aguilera and his pace, the better. So it's ridiculous to see that that we can't really compensate against a team like Necaxa, who puts us under pressure, and we don't even wake up until the second half.
I'm gonna use your favorite word here, Ivan, because you used it a lot too in the Clausura. The structure. I don't think this team had structure within itself too as well.
Yep. Today's podcast is brought to you by the word structure, something America did not have, and they didn't. They really didn't. You look at the shape we had, it was terrible. If you look at the shape the defense had, it was even worse. I mean, if you look at the goal, the first goal, I think the first goal is perfectly. You look at the defensive line. As a center back pairing, you know that the most important thing is staying in line. That's the most important part. Because whether you're trying to play an offside trap or not, you know that the most important part is staying in line with your partner. It just looked terrible from Bruno Valdez, that he was just so far back while Emmanuel Aguilera, Paul Aguilar, and Luis Reyes had all pushed up. What was he doing so far back? That's my question. That really is my question. What was he doing so far back? Not just once, but twice. In the first goal, they catch him on all the way back. In the second goal, they catch him all the way back as well. So it's ridiculous to see the fact that this team just had no structure. The team had no real kind of spine to it. I think it was just all over the place. No one really knew what to do about it.
Yeah, and seeing some training videos today too. Obviously, Miguel Herrera, I think, is addressing this too as well. Which is something that obviously needs to be addressed, because that's just ridiculous how you're gonna not be in sync with the partnership like that too as well. And so just seeing that too. I mean, that's something that's gonna have to be worked on and fixed immediately, because we can't have that the next game either as well. Granted, yeah, this is still an early season, but at the same time, you got 16 more games to go. I mean, do these 3 points come back and haunt you? Is what makes me worry too a little bit.
Oh no, and we know that, by experience, because the two tournaments that we have covered on this podcast, we have all said, if we get a certain result in a certain different time, then things look way different. But that's for if, buts, and maybes, and we don't want to get there. That's the point. We don't want to get there. We don't want to look back and reminisce on what if our opening game was better? What if we hadn't gotten a different result here and this and that? And for me, that's not what this team's about, especially not what the club stands for either. We need to go out there and prove ourselves against Atlas. But before we get carried away with that, I think we need to address the biggest issues that were in this Necaxa game. And we addressed one, which was the center back partnership. I think was terrible, horrible, needs to change up. There was one player that played a World Cup and demonstrated to the world that he is definitely top talented center back or center defensive mid, and that's Edson Alvarez. He shouldn't have ridden the bench. I don't know why he did. But I think now there's no excuse as to why you leave him on there, especially after the poor performances that Bruno Valdez and Emanuel Aguilera had been displaying in preseason and then, of course, displayed against Necaxa. Ultimately, who do you take out? I know that we read rumors and we've seen pictures of what's going down in training. It looks like Bruno Valdez has been taken out, and it looks like it's going to be Edson Alvarez and Emanuel Aguilera for the next game. But for you, what is that perfect center back partnership?
I think it's going to really be that. I mean, I'd like to see the Edson Alvarez and Emma Aguilera partnership go down against Atlas.
And you know what? This might be a controversial take, but I'd rather see Bruno Valdez and Edson Alvarez.
I mean, I could see either one too as well, but just Edson getting that start, getting those minutes, it's gonna be key. Especially with like you said, him being a World Cup player, him actually getting a couple of starts too, and actually playing those minutes, especially against Germany too, whenever he stood out too. It's something. He's something that's he's proven, and he's gonna show again too, come time whenever it is. Depending. It doesn't matter to me if it's going to be Bruno Valdez or Emma Aguilera. Whether it comes time, I'll be happy with either one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would rather prefer Bruno Valdez, but I do like the fact that if he does get sit out, it's going to be a good kind of like, I guess, a wake up call for him to kind of step it up, because if he doesn't, he's going to be riding the bench.
Going back to what you said, of why we didn't understand Edson was right on the bench too to start the game. I mean, how does Piojo not even see, with the way things are going in the defense, how he doesn't put him in earlier too in the game?
I think he just kind of has confidence in his center back partnership. I think he looks at the fact that, this is two very kind of veteran players in that sense that have played countless of minutes, and and together too. I think that's the most important part. You look at that and you say, okay, these are two center backs that have played with each other for 6 months now. Why would you want to disrupt that? Because honestly, though, even though Necaxa had their opportunities, they weren't really super aggressive sometimes. That, do you remember another time besides maybe a corner kick that Marchesín actually had to do something really really drastic?
I mean, no, but still at the same time, and then to start the second half, we see Uribe come on for Joe. I mean, like, is that really the right sub at that time?
I think that was probably the worst substitution you could have made at that point.
Yeah, because we can go back and say again too. At the start of the second half, it doesn't really make sense to me either. What the team is going for at that time. I mean, yeah, we start off, firing and getting some things going too. I mean, like we said, the second half, we saw some sparks, but obviously it wasn't enough. But still, I mean, Joe for Uribe or Uribe for Joe. I mean, I don't understand that to me.
And I think the worst part is that you saw Uribe play in such a deep role that whenever he did come on for Joe, it kind of was baffling. Like, what's Oribe Peralta gonna do, kind of in that center mid position?
Exactly.
He's not a playmaker. He can hold on to the ball and you can play off him, but besides that, he's not gonna pick you a 30-40 yard ball into a dangerous area. He's meant to be inside the box for a reason. So that was a pretty dumb move, but. I think just to kind of sum up the whole first half, it was poor, really, really, really poor. A lot of players just didn't look like they were up for it, and just a lot of doubts, And I think I even said it myself. We looked very sluggish. We gave Necaxa all the opportunity to move and go forward. We didn't really press them. We let them play their game, which I think was the worst part about it. Is you gave this Necaxa team so much room, so much space that yes, any team that is given that much time and space, that much freedom, that much time to do what they want to do, they're obviously going to look like the much better team than you. You know, and that's why a lot of people said Necaxa outplayed us so much, which they did. They outplayed us to a certain extent, and we'll talk about that, and I'll talk about that why when we talk about the second half. Because if you saw America, just kind of just was all right. We'll let the pressure come to us. We'll let the pressure come to us, and then we'll try to counterattack. We'll try to get something off. But we just said, okay, Necaxa, you can have the ball. Come at us. And Necaxa was smart. Necaxa was smart. I'll give them that. They were very smart. They they weren't just careless and just said, okay, we're gonna just keep going and keep going and keep going at it. They actually started thinking, okay, we're gonna move the ball around. We're gonna let America start running. We're gonna let them chase the ball. We're not really gonna put them under that much pressure. Get them desperate enough to try to get the ball and get us on the counter attack. But all we really need to do is just keep passing because they're not really even pressing. And that's what Necaxa did. That's all they did. They moved the ball around. We didn't press. And because of that, it's just it's ridiculous that I'm sorry. I want to laugh because Leva put what is with the trophy on your bed, and we'll discuss about that later. But
I mean, you're basically saying that like we let Necaxa play their game. We let them run circles around us.
And that's why they look like a Barcelona, and it was frustrating to see it, on the couch, and you're just wondering why aren't you pressing? Why are you giving them this much space? And I think that's what Piojo Herrera told them in the second half, because once we did come back out, things were a lot different. Things were way different. But credit to Necaxa because their young players demonstrated that given the right amount of time, given the right amount of space, you can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and you really did see that too. I mean, especially with the mistakes we had too, they didn't really give us no mercy.
They didn't. So credit to them. I think their first half was very well, and then we move on to the second half. I think we all wanted to see a substitution, right?
Yes, I
We
did.
got it, but not in the best form. What would you have done differently?
I mean, really, I mean, you would think if Oribe does come in, which I mean, if you're watching the game, you see Piojo talking to Oribe, so you're assuming Oribe is going to come in, and so you would think it's going to be for probably Henry Martin.
I would have wanted to see that. I would have
Yeah,
loved to have seen that because it's a perfect man for man. You don't have to change much up. You still have a center mid that if you tell him to do the right thing, he will do. If you tell Joe, don't go that deep, you have Guido, let him do the running, let him be the deeper man. You start becoming more of the playmaker. So I would have liked to have seen Henry Martin come off after the first 45 minutes because it was his fault. I'm not saying exactly. Well, I know I said it's his fault, but it's mainly his responsibility in the Necaxa goal because if you see the ball is played to him and he gives the most horrible first touch. He doesn't receive the ball. He can't control it. He gives a horrible first touch that ends up being a pass to an Necaxa player who then ultimately all he needs to do is pass it to the player that was up front, which I think was Davila, who scored the goal. So it was all you had to do is play to Davila. Bruno Valdez was already in a terrible position, and I don't know why he just kept standing off. I would have liked to see Bruno Valdez actually go and try to get something, a foul or anything at this point, because you're backing off, you're blocking Marchesin's view, and you give him all the time in the world, and look what happened. We concede. But and going back to my first point, I think Henry Martin should have been off, because really he came back on and nothing really came. He stayed on the pitch, excuse me, for what, 70, 80 minutes afterwards.
84 minutes.
And he stayed on until the 84th minute, and he didn't really produce much. So, it would have been nice to have seen Peralta come in for him.
I mean, it is what it is too at the end of the day, but it's definitely not what you expect.
But it can't be. We can't just sit here and be like, well, it is what it is, because it can't.
Well, I mean,
that can't be what it is.
Well, I mean, to a sense, it is, because why did Piojo wait another 40 minutes to make another substitution whenever he obviously sees the team lacking too?
But we've
especially in
seen this
defense.
before from him, and this is and exactly your biggest pet peeve from him. It has been the fact that his substitutions have always come late, and I think it's something that he still, for some reason, I don't know why, he's got two tournaments, one full year under his belt, where we keep saying to him, why have the substitutions been so late? What's going on? You see the camera pan over to him, and he's just contemplating. He looks like he's just got no idea, like, what do I do, what do I trust? I mean, it's really frustrating. Kari says Piojo is the problem, guys. I don't think Piojo is a problem. I think he becomes his own problem when he starts overthinking, but I think he's a very talented manager. I think he's the right manager for us at this moment, and I do think he can lead us to that 13th title. It just so happens that he always does this to himself in games like this. How many times have we seen it against Necaxa? Away, against Morelia, away, against Veracruz, away. And these teams that you think you need to get these 3 points, they're not guaranteed 3 points, but you think they're the weaker opposition, so you're gonna get 3 points. And what happens? We always end up on the wrong side of it because Piojo Herrera always, for some reason, in these games, overthinks about substitutions.
And like we said, it just kills it. I mean, it kills the team. And then you obviously, we already spoke about it too. Oribe for Joe. I mean, really, I
And
mean,
look, and if he didn't like with Joe's performance and he wanted to take him out, okay, but don't bring in Oribe Peralta. He's not going to give you
yeah,
much in that area. Bring on Edson. Edson would have.
exactly,
Edson has, as much as we like to praise him for his defensive work, he has a great way to kind of play the ball out the back and push forward. You've seen him do it with the Mexican national team. You've seen him do it a bunch of times with America. When he gets that ball at his feet, he can just run and run and run and find space. And that's what's important. He can find space. He can pick out a pass, not a long over the head pass, but he can play a really good 1-2 pass with someone. And if you didn't like that Joe was not kind of creating stuff, if you would have brought in Edson, things would have looked much better in the midfield.
exactly. I feel like too that midfield would have been more key, and that midfield is the structure of the team too as well. Obviously, you're not gonna get that with Oribe, like you said, but still, man. I mean, it's just frustrating. It just really is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, our good friend Football Forever says Edson for Aguilera. Aguilera constantly pushed up, and after the ball was lost, Bruno was left exposed, covering both center back spots. And that's true. And if you see that in the second goal, I think that's the perfect
Hmm.
the perfect picture to paint. Uh, Aguilera pushes up, and they're both at fault here. Both Aguilera and Bruno Valdez are at fault here. I know a lot of us just want to throw the blame at Bruno because he's the one that's kind of the furthest, but he steps up. Bruno doesn't step up with him, and then gets caught off. And then Bruno sees that there's an open gap, so now he's trying to kind of cover his space and kind of just cover two spots when only one person can do so much. But I think we said it. Edson for Aguilera or Edson for Bruno. Point is, Edson needs to start.
Definitely, it's a start, man. Well,
It is. But Kari says, it's okay, guys. Leon took an L too, and it was frustrating to watch as well. So Kari feels our pain. So thank you, Kari, for those great words of cheering up. But we can't be okay with this because so much is riding on this season. So much is riding on the expectation that is that 13th title. Now is a better time than ever to cement yourself as the best team in Mexico in regards to championships. You know, you're at a stage where you need only but just that one trophy. You get it. You won over your rivals. Right now, your rivals are probably in one of the worst states of their kind of career in regards to what's going on in regards to the president, to the owner, and all that stuff. So if you cement a title in a season where your rivals are not doing that well, then what does that say about you? So I
yeah,
think I think we want the perfect start here, and unfortunately we haven't gotten it, and we'll have to wait and see.
yeah. We'll have to wait and see. After this happened, I kind of looked at it, and I thought, well, what if it's just a backward season now? I mean, like America last two times started off really good, and then just kind of slumped. Well, what if we started off bad and then we rise up to the top? You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you. I get you exactly what you mean. Um, but I mean, what more do you want to add on to the second half? Which I think we still have a little bit more to talk about before we jump into the Atlas game.
Really, I guess we could talk about Rogers' goal a little bit too, which was which was a good goal. Some good team play too right there too. I think we not to about it with the assist too right there, but that's one thing not necessarily we overlooked, but we're taking our frustrations and everything out to being um, to this game, because the things we didn't see, the things we didn't want to see, and considered to the things that we wanted to see, which was this team to play good. And the second half, we do see some sparks from the team too as well going forward. Renato obviously doing Renato things. I thought he looked great on the ball. He was taking on some players. He was getting past some players. Putting in some crosses. Not necessarily that the crosses always met somebody at the end, but still, I mean, we see him have some life. Still keeping that form that he has whenever he's going back to when we go back to the Clausura. But other than that, Rogers' goal, good stuff from him. Some good stuff from Renato too.
Yeah, great stuff from them as well. I mean, besides them, is there anyone else that you think had a pretty decent game?
I mean, no, I mean, there's really nobody to point out. I mean, it wasn't 11 players versus 11 players really to me.
It wasn't, right? And that's the most frustrating part. That's the most
I mean,
frustrating part to me.
just like we said, just this team didn't have that chemistry, didn't have that team core, didn't have that structure going into this game. And, that's something we got to build on.
It is. It is. So ultimately, we want to sum up this game to what? Terrible tactics, terrible team performance, and just not enough from anyone really.
No, not even enough. I mean, still at the end of the day, not necessarily satisfied either with, to an extent, not necessarily satisfied with Rogers or Renato's performance. I still feel like we can get more out of them, but like we said, it's just week one. We still got a full season ahead of us, which I know they can pick it up and provide more and produce more.
And it's true, and it's true. And I just to kind of wrap up this whole Atlas Necaxa America game. Ultimately, I think if you look back at what we did in the second half, like you said, glimpse of good things. What we did differently was we made sure Necaxa did not have as much freedom, as much time on the ball, and I think you saw a lot of that possession go back to America. I think what you posted the momentum bar, didn't you?
I did.
And you saw the change. You saw how
Yeah,
things that drastically changed because of that, and it was just one simple arrangement, one simple thing changed, and that was we didn't give them that much time on the ball. We pressed them, and wow, would you have imagined if you press a team, you're gonna have the ball more? It's ridiculous that it took us 45 minutes to realize that. So I think if you realize that, then at the end of the day, it was it was all right, in some aspects, but ultimately you want to say that this was not the performance that you wanted to see. Although I was afraid that this was the performance we were gonna get.
yeah. I mean, still, I mean, like going back to what I said, besides Reyes and Martinez, I mean, these guys have already had a season under their belt, the Clausura. Definitely not what you want to see from a team that's been playing together already.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But, credit to Necaxa because I think they did a very, very good job at holding out for the game. I think they played smart. They didn't outplay us to the point where I was like, yeah, this Necaxa team just outdid us completely. They were smarter than us. They were tactically better than us, and they had what we didn't. That was structure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
credit to
I
them.
feel
I
you.
think they did well. And this team, a lot of questions had to be asked. You know, a lot of answers need to be given this next week against Atlas. It's at home. I hope that the boys know that, and I hope that they know that there's a responsibility that comes with playing in the Azteca, especially after the performance Cruz Azul put there in last week when they played against Puebla. So I mean, a lot of the pressure will be on us, and whether or not we kind of make it known that we're still the number one team, then we'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, So far, not what you want to see, and not good by any means necessary.
God, I just hope we don't take 85 minutes to score like Cruz Azul did. I don't care, regardless of the fact of the missed chances they had, but still, God, I can't even take the imagine them playing the Aztecas. It still,
By the way, the pitch looked terrible
it
for the
did.
Azteca. What did they do to our grass? Was it them that wanted new grass?
I don't remember. I'm not for sure, to be honest. But God, I mean,
That
I
was
hope
just
I,
terrible.
I hope it's not like that come Saturday.
That looked like my Sunday league team grass right
I
there.
mean, we can have good grass when America plays there, but let's just bring out the bad grass when Cruz Azul plays there again.
Just switch out
Just
grass
switch it out.
in the week. Oh man, but yeah. Ultimately, I think every fan will say not enough. Uh, what do you think the feel is? A lot of people asking for Piojo's head already.
I've actually seen on Twitter a little bit people already asking for Pio Jose, to be honest. But I mean,
And I had told you guys, I had said, I literally had said, a couple bad results does not mean we have to get rid of him right away. A poor start does not mean we have to get rid of him right away. Let's give him, like you and me both said, this whole year, this whole apertura and clausura. Let's give him at least this whole year. At the end of the day, by 2019, if we have yet to lift a trophy, then you know what? There's the door, my friend. Thank you so much for what you did. If we do have trophies, then by all means necessary, let's continue to have him, as our manager. I think he's the right person to kind of bring out the best out of these players, and yeah, the result against Necaxa is terrible, but doesn't mean that our season's completely over. And I mean, the perfect example is always going to be Tigres.
yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely, I agree with you there. But no, yeah, it's just frustrating start, really is. But I mean, I don't know. I still have a good feeling about about this season still.
That is correct. So ultimately, 2-1 horrible defeat to Necaxa, but I think it's going to be a good wake up call. I think it probably is the perfect start to the season that we might have wanted, because if you go on win against Necaxa and then kind of think, oh, everything's going to go good, and then things start to trample and fall down, maybe things are going to look better after this loss.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, definitely a good wake up call too for the guys. You know that, you know, you can't just steamroll past everybody, despite of the depth that we have in the squad. You know, the players that we have. I mean, we have the talent. I mean, it's there. But we can't just take every team lightly either.
And I hope people have realized that we have yet to touch upon the fact that we have injured players. I know I've mentioned it, but we did. And we have said this before. It's not by any means an excuse for us this season at all. It will never
No,
be an excuse for us. It shouldn't and never will be, because one, you have talent, you have squad depth. That's why you build this team. Two, you have very, very good young kids that can come in and play. And three, we're America. We don't get the luxuries to say that injuries are a reason to call it a bad season. So I hope people know that, and I hope people can see that we're not trying to assess this as, oh, we're stuck in a bad situation because of injuries, even though we are, but we're not going to use it as an excuse.
no, never, never.
Never whatsoever. So we'll change topics. We'll veer our course now towards Atlas and the Estadio Azteca. But beforehand, we want to say thank you to all of you who have supported us and are here in the live chat. Shout out to, like I said, Miss Cari Torres from Footmex Nation, Mr. Leva, who's always here and chilling with us, even though he is a Chivas fan, saying America is overrated. I will always be a Chivas son. It's okay. Don't worry. Our agenda is to convert you to the right side. Join us. We promise you the grass is always greener over here than over there where I have no idea where I'm going with this, but yeah, just come over here. Just be an America fan. You want to. We'll accept anyone, even if you were potentially a Chivas fan before. Christian, who says he's on the group chat right here, unfortunately wasn't able to make it to today's show. He will be coming back on next week. We'll look forward to you coming on here, Christian, and giving people your word. And Mr. Luis, who's here as well, unfortunately wasn't able to see that game against Necaxa due to a couple TV rights and everything. Mr. Luis, do you have Dish? Is my question. If you have Dish, then I feel your pain. I really, really do feel your pain. Dylan, anything else you want to say to everyone?
No, just thanks for showing up. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. You know, I don't remember how many followers we have. I think we said it's 12 or 13 more followers till we have our next giveaway.
I need to apologize for that. I need to apologize for that because I had said last week that we only need 15 followers more to do this kind of big giveaway. When apparently we needed 25. So Ivan needs to go back to school because he thinks that 15 plus 75 equals 100 when obviously that's not even close to anything. Um, so I do want to apologize for that. And but now we're close. Now we're close. So make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter, and we're gonna be giving away something really, really nice in the upcoming weeks because we're pretty confident in getting to that 300 mark.
Yes, we really are. I mean, some follower count been going up too. Just just lots of support too from people. Especially that dude from Ireland who's watching the U17s over there in that tournament.
Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to everyone. Really, we love interacting with all of you. I mean, we get crazy stories like this. America fan out in Ireland, just watching the team, covering the team, being able to soak in that experience, even though it's U17, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whatsoever. It's still an amazing kind of experience, and the fact that the English language has transcended overseas is ridiculous. So shout out to him. Shout out to all of you really, because we love interacting with you guys. And if you guys do follow us on Twitter and just shoot us a message, shoot us a tweet, we're always going to do our best to respond and just kind of interact with you guys, because I think at the end of the day that's the most important part.
Yes,
regardless of the results.
Yeah. At the end of the day, because we wouldn't be here without the fans.
We wouldn't be. So thank you guys for your support. Really, thank you so much. Mr. Leiva has put Diego Lainez over Messi, and that, my friend, is probably the first thing we have agreed on in the history of our friendship here on the podcast. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the Atlas preview. We got a lot to talk about, and that's because we have a new signing, correct?
Yes, a new signing indeed.
A new signing that is going to be on loan for 1 year with the option of buying. His name is Christian something.
Yeah, I'm not for sure how to pronounce that last name either, but you're correct, Christian.
I'm just gonna butcher it. I know I am, so I'm not even gonna try it. But you guys know who he is. We know who. Well, maybe not specifically know who he is, but he is Argentinian, correct? Coming from the Chilean. No, actually from the Paraguayan league.
Okay. I thought it was from the Chilean league, but no.
No, he was in the Chilean league 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
But he comes on. And I think when he comes, I think I message all of you and I say, not what I wanted.
No, I mean, I'm still on the fence about it, to be honest. Like, I really am. But, like, at the same time, I feel like I'd rather see some of the youth getting that chance. But, I don't know. To me, I'm still on the fence about this signing.
And talking about youth, can't even talk. Shout out to Mr. Ivan Moreno.
Oh, yes, this guy.
Shout out to him, who is an absolute amazing of a player. I really do hope he gets a lot more minutes with the team. He was on the bench. I really wanted him to come on for Iba to win. Unfortunately, Piojo Herrera had other players in mind, but he is officially the first player in an America jersey to follow the account.
So exciting. It really is.
Which was really exciting, the fact that he actually did that. So shout out to you, Mr. Ivan. So from one Ivan to another, thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. But we're veering off course here. We're definitely veering off course. America versus Atlas is going to be this Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And for our Mountain time friends, that is going to be 6 o'clock. Because apparently Dylan never lets me live down if I never say that. And but it should be a good game. I think Atlas coming in with a draw at home against Querétaro, which I think was I caught a little bit of that game. What did you?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it too.
So they look pretty decent. I want to say they look pretty decent. And it's about 2 weeks ago when they played them in Fresno when I was down there. So this Atlas team looks like they could play some pretty decent football. So we'll have to wait to see exactly what they look like on Saturday, but it should be an interesting game. It's going to be our first game of the season, like I said, in the Estadio Seca, back to that 5 o'clock schedule or 7 o'clock for people down there in Mexico. What are you expecting out of this game? What are you expecting come Saturday?
I'm to be honest, I'm expecting a midfield battle. I think when I watched the Atlas game a little bit too. I think they came off to a little bit of a slow start, but as soon as the game came on, like this team started playing together, we started seeing more for that team too as well. And that midfield was clicking, and so I think Guido Rodriguez is going to have some jobs to do in the midfield too as well, especially Mateus Uribe, who I think it will start against Atlas too as well. I feel like that midfield is going to be key to this game.
I think you look at one player who's going to have a really, really tough game, and it's going to be Luis Reyes. Going
Mm-hmm.
up against his former team and going up against his former teammate, Mr. Reyes is going to have to go and face Brian Garnica.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be an interesting battle too as well.
It is, and hopefully he can outdo Brian because in the friendly, Brian was just doing whatever he wanted with anyone in that friendly against America and Fresno. So obviously he's very talented. Obviously he's a very, very good youngster, but I think you close him down, you close a lot of Atlas's kind of threat going forward. Like you said, the midfield battle is going to be important. Whether or not we're going to have to wait and see who starts in that midfield. We'd all love to see Mateus Uribe start. Whether or not he will, that's I think we're gonna figure out literally by Friday if he either rides the bench or he starts. Hopefully, he's fit enough to get things going. But I think besides that midfield battle, I'm looking at this side and I'm thinking we're gonna have opportunities if we play the right game. Our shooting boots, will they be on?
I think so. I feel like Roger Martinez will get to start too, and I feel like he'll get some things going too as well.
I think you look at Roger and the goal he scores, like you mentioned earlier against Necaxa. It's just a goal you'd expect a striker of his quality to score.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So if we give him these opportunities, feed him the ball, and if he's in that danger zone, then you can maybe put your money 9 times out of 10. It's always going to go in the back of the net.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, he's shown it too. I mean, I feel like he's in the right spot at the right time every time.
So obviously, reports coming out of Coapa and the training camp that Pio Herrera started fielded up an 11, which went like this: Agustin Marchesin in goal, no surprise there. Paolo Aguilar, Luis Reyes, and the center back partnership was Aguilera and Edson Alvarez. In the midfield was Mateus Uribe with Guido Rodriguez. Out wide was Renato Ibarra with Ibar Gwen, and up top was not Henry was Oriol Peralta and Mr. Roger Martinez. And then later on, Ibargüen was taken out of that starting 11 and the youngster Lopez was put in. Seeing this and looking at all of this, do you think that's going to be the starting 11?
I think so. I really like that lineup. I really think this is one of our strongest lineups too as well. Obviously I don't think some people would agree with me. Obviously that Ibargüen is obviously not going to start and it's going to probably be Lopez, but still I think this is good. I really obviously we're advocating for Edson to start too. At the same time, not really caring who the partnership is between Edson and either Aguilera or Bruno Valdez too as well. But I think this is a good lineup. Obviously, the lineup is getting stronger if we do have Mateus Uribe starting again too. But I like this lineup overall.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I think it's fair enough if we were to make our prediction that that's our lineup.
Yes, yes.
All right, quick one. You putting in Lopez or you keeping in Ibargüen?
I put in Lopez. Why not?
I like it. I like it. I also want to see him. I think you saw a little glimpse of what he could do against Necaxa. I think he looked pretty okay. I think let's see what he can do starting off in the first minute, and we'll have to wait to see after that.
Yeah,
Because let's be honest, Ibargüen's just been terrible.
yeah. I mean, no, not necessarily the game you want him to see too. Especially with us, hyping him up a little bit too last pod.
Yeah, no, and we said a lot of responsibility was going to fall on his shoulders due to the fact that Cecilio Dominguez and Jeremy Menez were not going to be playing. And now you see the way that he's performed. It's just questionable, really, whether or not he's the right player to lead us forward.
Yeah, didn't really step up. Didn't step up at all to me, and I think you can agree with me that he didn't step up at all for you.
No, no. So I think let him ride the bench for this one. Bring in the babies. Let him play. Let's see what they can do against Atlas.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty then. So what do you think America needs to do besides kind of win the midfield battle? I think is there anything else that we need to see from this side to really showcase that we're that not just to showcase, but to get the 3 points because I think that that's the most important part.
All 11 play really. I mean, we didn't really see that against Atlas too. I mean, having that structure. I mean, just basically the stuff that we see the mistakes and we didn't see against Necaxa. I mean, just build on that, and improve that you do have that structure, that you do have all 11 playing, with that chemistry, with the style, to go out and do that. I like to see them come out and press. I know we saw that a lot too. In the Clausura, we come out pressing really high, didn't give the opponent space on the ball. The passes that they did make too right there. So just retaining possession early on, and just building from the mistakes and what we can build on from last game too as well.
Yeah, I literally was gonna say that. I want to see them start the game off well like that. I want the can't even talk. I'm sorry. I want them to just straight off the bat, like you said, press, have that structure, know what you're playing for, know the tactics, execute the plays, don't force the ball, play it simple when you need to, and for the love of God, please, please, don't overcommit to a pass. There's plenty of times where we have the ball and just for some reason want to chuck it up the field and try to get a long through ball like that. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work at all. Play smart, play to the feet, play those 1-2 passes that we know that we can do, and just play your football. And if you do so, then I promise you that the channels will open, spaces will be made, and hopefully we'll get a couple of goals because of that. Let's face it, at this stage, every team is fresh. Every team hasn't really found their rhythm. Um, some teams have more than others, but not everyone's at 100% yet. So I think you need to realize that, go out there, prove it, and just play your game, really.
Yeah, I mean that's all it comes out to is playing your game. If you're playing your game, I mean, this team seems pretty set in stone from the get go too.
Yeah. So I mean, if we field those 11 and if we play the game that we know we can play, I'm pretty confident in getting the result, which we know it's either win or win.
Yeah, basically that's really what it is, man. That's what it's gonna come down to.
It really is. Alrighty, man. Time for predictions. Give me your prediction for Saturday.
I'm gonna take a 2-1 again. I'll take a 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Alrighty then.
Mm-hmm.
And this game's gonna be tough. Um, because I feel like some of these boys just aren't 100% confident. But I think if we start moving the ball around, if we get an early goal, then we can dictate the play from there. And if we do so, I think it's gonna be a nice, easy win for us if we can get the players going the way we did. Whenever we played, our game. I think at the end of the day, if we're being just, if we're being fair, I'm going America 4-0. Let's go. We're doing another 4-0 here at the Eagle Eye Podcast. It's going to happen. It's going to go down. It's going to be 2 goals by Roger Martinez, 1 by Oribe Peralta, and 1 by Mr. Mateus Uribe himself. It's going to go down just like that. You guys heard it here first. And if that happens, I think we'll all be pretty happy and we'll forget about the Necaxa game.
Are you sure? Because I'm ready to write it down.
Write it down. Write it down. I'm putting that.
Okay.
I'm going there. Write it down. America 4-0 come Saturday. We're gonna wash Atlas in that game, and we're gonna come out victorious.
Oh well, it's written. It's in permanent ink, so no going back.
But regardless of the fact, I think 3 points are the most important thing here.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be. It really has to be.
So let us know what your guys' prediction is for Saturday's game. Should be an interesting one. I'm going 4-0. Dylan's going 2-1. Mr. Leiva's going 1-1. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Mr. Leiva, I said, how many times have you given that prediction correct? Damn, I think it's been 0 times. I've given that prediction like 12 different times, and the result has never been 4-0. But
Christian agrees with me.
See, Christian says 2-1 also. But you know what? Luis is going 4-1, so he's kind of got my back on this one. So
He does, yeah.
Well, I'm still going for no. I think you know, I if I say it 1,000 times, at least one time it's got to happen, right?
1,001 chance.
1,000 to 1 chance. I'll take those odds. I will. I'll take those odds. But ultimately, I didn't even give that prediction last week, huh?
No, you gave 1-0 last week.
So disappointed that we didn't get that, but whatever. Although now that you say that, and I did say 4-0, I think it's key to get a clean sheet.
Yeah, it really is. It's not necessarily for much to see, but for the back line too.
That's the most important. That's what I was going for. Confidence in that back line to restore that confidence. Get that clean sheet, whether it's 1-0, whether it's 2-0, 4-0, doesn't matter. Get that clean sheet, close out the game, and then build from there. I think that will help out the team a lot.
Yes, definitely, it definitely will.
Oh,
I mean,
all right. Last
I'm
prediction. Give me your breakout player for this game.
Edson. It
Edson.
really is. Yeah, I mean, he's going to come out and obviously have a great game. I'm coming off a great World Cup for him, especially at 20 years old. I mean, he's going to come out and do great things, and Piojo's finally going to see like, oh, Edson's no joke. I mean, we're going to start Edson every week now.
All right. All right. I like it. I like it. I'm going with the youngster Lopez.
Okay,
Give him the
I like
start.
that too.
Give him the start, and he'll show you amazing things.
I like that. I'll take that.
Well, I'll definitely will. Mr. Leyva said Cuauhtémoc Blanco for I don't know. I think breakout player. Don't tempt us because I think if we had the chance to play Cuauhtémoc Blanco this game, I sit down whoever you need to sit down. He needs to start. I'm always gonna go by it. Yeah, you put him out there on that pitch. I promise you, we win 4-0.
You're taking the 4-0 with Cuauhtémoc on
Oh,
the field.
it goes down from 1,000 to 1 to like 10-1. Promise you.
Was he going to score all 4 goals?
No, he won't score off 4 goals. He probably score one off a penalty or a free kick, but um, he'll provide the assists. Don't worry.
Oh man.
But Mr. Christian saying Gancito, whatever happens, whoever knows where do you retire? Christian, let us know if you can figure out the information to where the Gancito ended up retiring. This is before your time, huh, Dylan?
I,
You don't
I
even know
think
who I'm
so.
talking about.
No, I don't. Obviously, I honestly don't.
Can you imagine though having that as a nickname, Gancito? Damn,
Couldn't. I mean,
that
my
sounds
nickname.
delicious right now.
Well, my nickname in high school was Pollito, so
Okay, you know what a Gancito is, right?
it's one of those like little like not necessarily cakes, but like it's kind of like a sweet treat.
Yeah, like a chocolate Twinkie, I guess if
Yeah,
when you put it like that.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Um,
they're delicious. Like you freeze them up, and it's just wow. So it's perfect. It's perfect. Welcome to the Gansito Hour on the Eagle Eye Podcast. We're going to talk about every single different way to eat a gansito and share it with your most loved one. But really, they're delicious. I mean,
if we're going off topic here, to be honest, with me being in this small town, I never knew what a gansito was until like I went outside of Sweetwater.
really.
Yes.
So they don't sell gansitos where you're at right now?
I don't see them. I mean, now you see them every once in a while, like in a convenience store, but like growing up, I never did.
You need to open your own gansito store in Sweetwater, and you will be making bank. I promise you. Promise you. It's like the perfect get rich idea. 3 months in, you can retire. Promise you.
We got so far off into this food, like I'm getting hungry, and like our listeners that who aren't here listening with the live show are probably like, what the heck's going on?
They probably turned it off by now, but we'll talk about gansitos another time. But ultimately, I think it's looking like it's gonna be a good game Saturday. So make sure you guys don't miss it. Again, we reiterate the hours: 5 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central time. That's gonna be live through Univision, I believe.
Yes.
So
Correct.
make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter because we'll have you guys covered for everything during that game. During that game, live tweets, live reactions, just giving our thoughts and just interacting with all of you during the game. So make sure you guys do follow us for that. And we're gonna be doing a very very special giveaway time. And Christian, for you, because you asked, Mountain Time, it's going to be 6 p.m. So make sure you guys do tune into that. Should be a good game.
Yes, that should be a good game, a very good game. Let's see if your 4-0 prediction comes true.
Hopefully it does. And if it does, I will buy you a gancito, Dylan.
Okay, I like that idea.
Look at that. Full circle. So make sure you guys do tune in for that. But we're pretty much running to the end of the show. We just
No,
kind
no,
of sign off. What?
you forgot something.
What did I forget?
We're adding a new addition to the show where we talk about our Lady Aguilas.
Ah, yes. Excuse me. That was a total my bad on my part. Um, yes, the Lady Aguilas, who debuted yesterday with a very, very good result, ended up with a 2-1 victory over Toluca at the Estadio Seca.
Yes, a very good showing from these ladies too. I actually got to see some highlights too. I think it was from Univision on YouTube. I think I want to say maybe I could be wrong, but still, I mean, we saw some good things. There were some good things going too. It really sucks though. It was in the 90th minute in that 1 minute stoppage time where Toluca scored, and what sucks is she had her hand right on the ball, like the ball hit complete palm and everything, still went in. I mean that's the frustrating part.
Keep your head up, JD. JD Gutierrez, who was the goalkeeper. Did I tell you about that? That funny story. My cousin, actually, who lived in Mexico at the time, went to school with JD, so he knows her.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I thought that was
So
cool.
shout out to JD Gutierrez, and shout out to all the Lady Aguilas who are doing a very, very good job. I even told you this. I was actually bummed out that they didn't transmit this game here in the United States. I would have much rather watched that than what I watched on Sunday.
Interesting thing too from the lineup, their best player in my opinion, because obviously top goal scorer in the Apertura and the Clausura, Luceo Cuevas did not
Yeah.
start. Didn't even come off the bench.
Look at that. Your star player gets a day off and you can still pull away a very good victory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that shows good things too. But obviously, it seems kind of frustrating too because I feel like she would go out there and play unless there's like some injury that we don't know about, maybe that's
No,
kept her from playing.
we need to dive into the world of Lady Aguilas a little bit more.
No,
So
maybe they'll see, maybe they'll expand, and we'll finally get to watch Lady Aguilas play one day.
we need to invite a fellow lady to cover the Aguilas on the podcast one day. We'll find someone. Someone out there has to cover this team as well, right? That can come on the show and talk about them.
I'm pretty sure we just gotta search.
Twitter, do your thing. Let us know who should we invite on to talk about the Lady Aguilas. We'll give them the whole hour instead of the boys because the way that this team is going, I'd much rather talk about the ladies right now than the gentlemen.
Oh man.
But it's cool to see the Liga MX Feminine gaining a little bit more traction. I've always said that in a couple more years' time, the ladies are just going to be right up there with the men. And you see the way that they play sometimes. Granted, it's not it's not there yet to the extent of like a men's World Cup final, but they do have really, really good games. And if you see some of these Liga MX games, they're exciting to watch.
Going off a little bit. I think since this started in the Apertura in 2017, I don't think there's been a scoreless game at all.
There hasn't. We were watching the Mexican soccer show and they were talking about that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So someone get the rights. Someone get the rights over here to watch the games. Promise you are not gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, definitely. That's something cool to talk about too, more in depth if we get the chance.
No, yeah, definitely. But we'll keep an eye out on our Lady Aguilas. So make sure you guys do support them. # Lady Aguilas. And we're going to be rooting for them. Hopefully they can get their first trophy this season.
Yeah, hopefully.
And they've gotten close too, if I'm not mistaken. Really close too.
Yeah, I think it was Tigres that knocked them out in the semifinals last in the Clausura.
Yeah. Mr. Leva has put, be honest, do you guys really watch the Women's World Cup? Yes and no. I do, but sometimes I forget it's on and I feel terrible for forgetting. But can't wait for 2019 France. Should be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no for me too. I mean, I'm just kind of in the sense, I remember or I don't.
But we'll definitely keep our eyes out for them, and we'll definitely talk about them a little bit more. We'll give them a much bigger segment next week because I think they deserve it.
Yeah, they play Friday against Cruz Azul, I think, in the Azteca.
That's right. We got a Clásico Joven coming up.
For the
So
ladies, yes.
wait, they play this Friday?
They play Friday, I do believe, if I remember correctly.
Wow, that is not a lot of rest.
No, it's not. Crazy. I think about it. It really is not. Maybe
But
Cobos will play.
hopefully that means that the pitch is going to be in better conditions.
I hope so too.
We'll have to wait and see. But hashtag Lady Aguilas, like Mr. Luis has done it himself over on Twitter. Make sure you guys do that and give the ladies as full much of support as possible. We'll definitely keep a very close eye on them, and hopefully they can do way better things than the gentleman can do. But
No.
Dylan, anything else you want to add on?
No, I think that wraps it up, man.
All right, we're pretty confident for Saturday and Friday, hoping that we can both get, hoping that both of the teams can get 3 points and really cement their season off to a very good start. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been episode 30. Wow, 30 episodes in. I haven't even noticed that. 30 episodes of the Eagle Eye podcast. Thank you all for your support and for coming out to the live chat. And for all of those of you who are going to be listening to us on the go, if you guys ever miss a live show for whatever reason, make sure you guys do follow us on SoundCloud and iTunes, where you guys can always have us in your pocket and can always interact with us like that as well. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Pod. Dylan, anything else to add?
No, we covered it all. Just always thanks for the support, guys.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, stay hydrated, eat a gansito twice a day, every day, and you guys will live a much happier life.
A gancito a day keeps the doctors away.
That is true. Not verified, but that is true. But it's been all for us. Hopefully, you guys have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be seeing you guys next week as we discuss everything that went down in the Estadio Azteca for both the Atlas game and the Cruz Azul game for the Lady Aguilas. So make sure you guys do tune in for that. Shout out to everyone who came out in the live chat. Miss Cari Torres, thank you for your support, and Mr. Luis, Leiva, Christian, and everyone else. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys very soon. You guys can always catch us on Twitter, like I said. And yeah, until next time, guys. Take care, and as always, arriba la América.